What we want to know about where we are whole is that somehow there's more than what we've got. That somehow we can feel a sense of value in ourselves. That we can feel that we can survive all of this somehow. This world is very difficult. And to come to know your higher self lifts you out of it just for a little while, not in any type of physical way that you might want, but so that your higher self can enable your lower self to perceive it in a different way. When we perceive this world as whole, even when it doesn't feel like it's whole in any way whatsoever, we offer it a concept or an adhesion, if you will, to the oneness. If we can accept the wholeness of everything that seems impossible or difficult to cope with in any way, suddenly we've changed its own path to wholeness. It's difficult to explain unless one wants to be on that path, unless one wants to perceive of themselves as whole on behalf of everyone else who wants to know this, but somehow can't at this point. But when you do want to know yourself as whole, it is innate that you will want to know this wholeness on behalf of everyone or everything else, because you won't be able to perceive anything as separate. You will want to perceive it as whole because you perceive it within yourself. And when you perceive it within yourself, you can't help but perceive the cohesion and the oneness in everything else as well. When you accept it in yourself, when you accept the cohesion and that you are perfect as well in every way that one could possibly know or understand about themselves, then you can't help but eliminate any of your negative thinking towards anyone else or towards anything that surrounds us in this world. And that is the greatest gift that someone could hold for someone else. You may not know the power of your witness, the power that a witness takes or places upon someone else. But think of it this way. Have you ever found yourself staring at someone else purely by accident, and then you turn around really quickly and you don't know how they noticed when you were looking at the back of their head for so long? It's like that. We noticed when we're noticed. We feel a pull towards someone that's put their attention on us for too long. We feel a spark. There's so much more than we notice in this world of our lower selves. When we're in that lower consciousness mode, we don't notice what's really going on, what we're really made of, and how we're really whole. But when you feel that pull to want to know something else, whether it's something else that made us or something else that made you whole, and then as you get closer to it, you find your own witness that you are that source as well, and you are its perfect witness on behalf of everyone else, you won't be able to stop yourself. The path to get to what we know as whole isn't always as enjoyable as one might like. It's a choice one must make, that despite the fractures that we see in this world that surrounds us, despite the pain we may have received from someone else, maybe they were staring at us in a way that wasn't loving. Maybe they were projecting hateful thoughts towards us. We still have to make the choice to want to know ourselves as whole so that they can know it as well. So you can see why we have to negotiate within ourselves to make that choice, unless we have already firmly established that we are whole and we feel its resonance every day. Other than that, we negotiate our way to make that choice. We have the assumption that everything is whole because I feel it when I meditate. And so then during the day, when I feel myself witnessing more of the fractures than the wholeness in everything that surrounds us, then I make the choice to perceive of its wholeness first, and I work toward it. Perhaps it takes me another day, or perhaps that night I go into a state of meditation where I just want to know the wholeness on behalf of everyone else. As something just happens, something in me wants to know the wholeness of everyone else as well. And something happens in that path of consciousness where I cannot say that it is not whole. I cannot feel the difference between someone else and myself. I cannot perceive where a certain incident that happened is going to take me on a negative path where I will no longer know myself as whole. There's just something that happens when you want to know the wholeness, the oneness first, where you want to know where you are whole on behalf of someone else, that allows you to not need to negotiate with it at some point. At some point, you will just go about your day perceiving everyone as whole, including yourself. Can you imagine what a delight that is? And how you can lift everyone else just simply with your presence. Again, remember back to that example we gave about staring at someone and how they just seem to notice. You will do that for someone else on their path when you perceive them as whole. Something in them will begin to notice. What they will think that is, or what they will do with that glance towards wholeness, we don't know, and we can't ever force them to want to know this as wholeness. But something in them will begin to wake up. You can't control it. You don't know at what point they will want to fully follow that path back towards where they are whole. But you can congratulate yourself for wanting to know the wholeness on their behalf. For that really is the only way that we're all going to wake up. We need to know that we are so much more than these lower self individuals who suffer so much on this path. Suffering is not the way to know wholeness. We think it is. And so many of us have come into this world thinking that to overcome suffering, whether it's in this world or of other worlds or past lives and such and so forth, is how we're going to know ourselves as whole, or how we're going to wake up. But truly, in this moment, when you know yourself as whole, you wake up on every level. Whether you believe that you have past lives or not, you wake up in them all. You wake up within yourself, more importantly, so that you'll know it while you are here. And when you know it while you are here, you do so on behalf of everyone else. Again, this lower world, and you will know it when you experience it for yourself, is not separate. I cannot find a plant that is separate from my lower consciousness when I really perceive it from my higher self. Everything is whole and everything wants to wake up. And so when I give it that consciousness and I suggest that it is whole, I give it a chance. I give it a chance to want to know the wholeness as well. So I'll leave you with that, just something to consider about wanting to know why you want to know yourself as whole. Is it something in you that's just starting to wake up where you want to know this, where you want to know that self-concept? Are you wanting to drag yourself out of a hole of this world? Or are you wanting to just simply be peace on behalf of everyone else? It doesn't matter what starts you on your journey towards knowing that you are the oneness, that you are whole, and that you're part of this self-concept for everyone else. What matters is that when you know the wholeness, you just let everything else go. That there's no reason that you needed to come up with in order to go on that path. And you congratulate yourself. You firmly accept that you have fulfilled your role on this planet, and you celebrate yourself. And that kind of locks it into your lower self-consciousness as well, even more so, where she or he will want to come and join the party, so to speak. So again, we meet somewhere in the middle, and then we just live our lives as normal. Wanting to know yourself as wholeness, as whole, is a very normal path. And you can do whatever you would like to with it. It's the witness we give others while we're on that path of knowing ourselves as whole. It's the witness that we choose to have before I know it for certainty within myself, because I don't yet know myself whole, as whole, every moment of every day. That allows this lower self, this entire lower world, to remember its path toward its certainty that it is whole and that it is time to wake up. And so it is. And so now you will know your path and why you want to remember yourself as whole. Just want to know it. And so it is. Amen.